for the YouTube.
Do it live!
Do it live, they said. What could go wrong, they said.
Literally everything.
The pipe above Brian.
Oh, God. Literally a pipe full of shit. Just... Hello, everybody, and welcome to the crew's first ever Bric-a-bracket. Yeah, I came up with the name myself, so...
I was like, that's the first time I heard that name.
Yeah, yeah, I'm brilliant. Quality content.
You can leave anytime you like, guys.
So basically, it's a March Madness style bracket matchup. We're talking about Marvel movies today. I got the bracket here. I'm gonna go ahead and be updating that as we go along here.
Yep. I feel like we need like the CBS March Madness music. Da 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 da.
I mean, pretty much. So what I've done is I had a poll through Twitter and Facebook that I did, and basically had asked my fans here to vote for their favorite Marvel movies. The results of that vote are in, and then I threw the top 8 results, threw them in a randomizer, and that's the matchups we have. So for our first matchup here, we have Winter Soldier versus Deadpool. Captain America, Winter Soldier against Deadpool. First matchup. My opinion, that's kind of a tough matchup for me personally. But anybody got any opening points they want to make about either of these movies?
So the thing that makes this matchup so interesting is that Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Deadpool are two Marvel's Universe films going for two completely different, styles and approaches.
Absolutely.
Like I don't think anyone watching, anyone here, or anyone watching will argue that point. The fact is, obviously Captain America, Winter Soldier, basically was meant to take the ball from what they did in Avengers and Captain America, the first Avenger, and even go further in establishing Captain America, and to a certain extent, I would even argue extend that to Black Widow and obviously the namesake Winter Soldier as well. And I feel like personally that film stands as still one of their best works yet, like in general. And it does have to be mentioned that technically speaking, Deadpool is not an MCU film. It was a Fox Studio film that just happens to be a Marvel film.
Correct. I do want to go ahead and state now for the opening that it was not limited to MCU. It was any Marvel movie was up to be voted for.
Fair enough.
So that's how it got in. And I also want to say, which I was going to mention this at the top, but all of these movies are on this bracket. I don't think any of us are going to say that outright any of these movies are a bad movie. They're on the bracket for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, they are... Of course, Jerry.
I'll be nice. Knowing that certain films I absolutely don't like is on there, but everybody on here likes, I'm going to be nice.
I mean...
in my own special way.
I mean... That's fine. I'm just saying, me personally, I would not categorize any of the films that made this bracket a bad film.
That's fine. I will say when I saw the bracket, I had kind of Monty Python thing going in my head where it's like, this is the bracket. Well, I didn't vote for it.
That is true. But whose fault is that? Whose fault is that, Jerry, if you didn't vote for it?
Did you vote for anything, Jerry?
I don't think my vote would have mattered against the wave that came across on some of these picks.
Yeah. You know what? To go over the bracket, we have obviously the first matchup now, Winter Soldier versus Deadpool. Deadpool 2 versus Thor. X-Men Apocalypse versus Captain America Civil War. And Logan versus Thor Ragnarok. And Thor actually got the highest votes. Got 3 votes. Had the most votes. So, and that, for me, that was a surprise. Because I think that was one of the weaker films on the bracket. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
That's,
strongest
that's your opinion,
one of the strongest Avengers weakest movie.
Yep.
So, Winter Soldier versus Deadpool. As Brian said, it definitely... they're trying to target 2 different audiences, and I think they both did very well at what they were trying to do. They both were phenomenal successes in what they were going for. I think Deadpool, people were a little weary of Deadpool because of the
R tag
problem that happened before with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in that other movie.
Oh,
that we
yeah.
don't talk about. But
That movie didn't make the list?
anyway, I think that working with the budget that Deadpool had to work with is a credit to how good of a movie and how good of a script and how good of acting and everything it had to be to even be having this discussion right now of is it as good as the massive amount of success that the previous MCU movies have had that funneled to make Winter Soldier. And I just think it's a credit to Deadpool. No, nothing against Winter Soldier. It's a fantastic movie. It's brilliantly edited, brilliantly shot, brilliantly scripted, acted, all that, same thing. But just to be on that kind of level with the budget Deadpool had to work with is very impressive to me.
But Deadpool is very fun, but if we're trying to look beyond fun, Deadpool has some issues. First off, Ajax is a very boring, just generic villain that's just there to give Deadpool a reason to do stuff. And to create Deadpool. The jokes are mostly funny, there's a few that miss, but overall in the comedy, it succeeds. But the story is very just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very simple, which it should have been. Deadpool, let's face it, nobody went to Deadpool for a significantly well-written plot.
Sure.
This is true. This is very
But
true.
at the same time, if you are someone who went to Deadpool and wanted a little bit more behind the comedy, you weren't going to get that. You could argue that that's the fault of the person who went to see it, but some people do want a little bit more out of their comedy. But Ryan Reynolds nails it out of the park as Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds cannot be any other character in the not MCU and Marvel movies. He's Deadpool. He is
absolutely.
Deadpool. His performance as Deadpool. But Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool drives that movie because there's no other outstanding performance in that movie. There's good performances, but Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool was the only one that had to nail it out of the park. If he did not nail Deadpool at the park, Deadpool's a dead on arrival.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But Ajax is Francis. Francis, he's, it's what it is, but it does well, but as funny as it is and as well done as it is for the movie it was going for, Winter Soldier, in my opinion, is top tier MCU material.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Its story has implications that goes across the MCU universe.
Yeah.
It fleshes out and expands on various characters at the same time. The action is well done. It improves upon majorly over the first Captain America movie, which I will go on the record as saying is a disappointment.
Controversy!
There better not be any controversy because it really wasn't that good, people. Get over it. But the whole Hydra has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. was incredibly well done. Robert Redford and what role he was put in was great. Yes. And the fact that you got someone like Robert Redford in these type of movies is amazing, and it shows the level that superhero movies are getting to these days. Winter Soldier's just top tier, and as fun as Deadpool is, I just think Winter Soldier has so many more components working for it that Deadpool, admittedly by design, can't compete with. Yeah. But just because you don't compete doesn't mean that the other movie doesn't do it so much better than you that I can't overlook it.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is like the middle of the whole road for, the whole MCU saga. Like, I feel like that's the part where it starts, getting the team and, you had the Avengers before it. Like, it just helps move everything along. Like, the entire universe hinges on that movie, I feel like.
It's like a pivot point for the MCU.
And just like he mentioned, it impacted the entire universe. I don't know if y'all watched any of it, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., ABC.
I've seen a little of it. I can't speak much.
But I've watched every bit of it, and it's a good series. And they just started that series without knowing what Winter Soldier was about, and they had to change their stuff in the middle of it because they're Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Then all of a sudden, midway through their season, it's majority of it's Hydra. Yeah. Like, to be able to do that and still make a great movie and, to have that ripple effect but not destroy anything that they built. Like, that changed everything. Like, it took Shield down. The backbone of the Avengers. It took it down. Like, and yet it still brought it out.
That is huge. That it was able to have a ripple and a change without destroying it.
Yeah.
Unlike certain other franchises, we'll say that have happened that kind of has to destroy its own lore just to make new stuff.
Right.
Star Wars. Anyway, so
allergies are kicking in there a little bit.
Yeah, that was rough. But yeah, no, that's absolutely a great point. That
the story is just like, you know, it's been said. It's so good, like
intricate,
and all the characters you get. Like, I know y'all mentioned some, but even then, you're getting Falcon. Like, finally seeing him and getting him in there, and I do have to say one thing I did not like about Winter Soldier was they built up that whole getting the Falcon jetpack, and then it was just like he has the jetpack. It's like I kind of would have loved to see them gone in to that base that had it and got it. Like, see how they did it. Like, I don't know.
I wonder if that was
just
a
me personally. Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I know they don't put all deleted and cutscenes on the stuff, but I know it wasn't in part of the
special features at the very least. So
yeah, and
it would have been an interesting thing to see. But you also got to think Winter Soldier was already a pretty long movie.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they took that into consideration.
Yeah, if they go back to Deadpool, just to give Deadpool some credit.
Yeah.
Deadpool. What Deadpool deserves credit for is an alternative for people who want a different type of superhero movie. You know, it's R-rated. And for the record, obviously you don't need to be R-rated to be a good movie, but you need to be R-rated to be a good Deadpool movie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You need to be R-rated to be a good Deadpool movie.
If it was PG-13.
And the success of an R-rated Deadpool movie could open the doors for more R-rated movies that deserve R-rated.
It actually did. And that is one thing that it actually did, because we would not have Logan if it was not for Deadpool. Like, with Deadpool's success, we got Logan, which is, you know, I'm not going to go into it because it's in our bracket,
but yeah,
it's one of the best X-Men movies. Yeah. I mean, I know it's not strictly, it doesn't have to do mostly with X-Men, but it's in the X-Men universe.
It's in that same universe. It's Patrick Stewart. It's Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
If we would not get that caliber of a movie if it wasn't for Deadpool.
Yeah, it broke, you know, now, like I said, now comic books, with certain movies, they won't have to try. Although some still will, they don't have to strive to stick with that PG-13.
Yeah.
If it hits R, they can look at the property and go, well, does this property fit an R rating? The answer is yes, they can keep it.
Right.
Deadpool deserves all the credit in the world for that, for people who may like the Marvel movies, but wanted something that wasn't the Marvel formula.
And I have to say, I don't know if I mentioned it now or before, but I'm a huge X-Men fan. I grew up on the 90s X-Men cartoon. Like, that is, they will always forever, like, Magneto is my top, like, anything.
Your favorite,
like,
any character
whatsoever. Like, he's my number one. Like, Magneto will always be. And so X-Men has been there in my life, like, for the longest time. I mean, I don't really read the comics or anything, but I go off of just the animated or movies or anything like that, and I'll play games that
major.
A bit. What was the name of the game?
Which Ultimate Alliance?
Yes, Ultimate Alliance. Like,
it's good. That's an underrated game.
Yeah,
yes.
It had so much lore. Like, it had so much lore, and like one of the characters. I'm getting to the Deadpool aspect of it, like what I liked in it. But one of the characters in X-Men that I was okay with, but not overly fond of, was Colossus. Like, I liked him in the X-Men trilogy, but I wasn't like it. But
it wasn't awesome.
The Colossus in the Deadpool movies is, to me, spot on. Like,
it's Colossus. It's who Colossus should be.
It's how he should be. And I mean, and they brought me that character. Like, Deadpool had good things for it, but I just, for the movies, it's, you know, it's just so hard to compete against Winter Soldier. Like, in my own opinion, it's just so hard to compete against how great that movie was. Like,
it's a fair.
It's in my top 5 for all Marvel movies, and for a reason. Like,
it's hard. It's hard. You can give credit to the home run, but it doesn't have the excitement and amazement that is a grand slam.
Yep. Exactly.
That's a great analogy. That is damn near. And with that analogy, I think we're ready to go ahead and open our voting.
Actually, mind if I get in one more?
No, go ahead. Yeah, one more point. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to point out something that you said about the about how growing up you were so big into the X-Men, and I that hits me, and it hits me where I live, because that was like, X-Men was my jam when I was a kid too, and I remember collecting the Marvel Universe cards, trading cards that they had. And I remember getting all these cards, for like the Avengers, and maybe it was just me, but I feel like when I was growing up, nobody was talking about the Avengers.
No.
Everybody was talking
You're right.
about
It's
the
X-
X-Men.
It was X-Men when we were
Fantastic
growing up.
Four, like it.
Oh yeah,
It's-
that was huge.
Yeah, it was,
Avengers kind of.
They were kind of vague.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. You knew of them, but
Yeah,
it just,
they were there, but they were
there was
not
bigger
the
squads,
level
like,
of
yeah.
squad that X-Men. They weren't the X-Men. They weren't the
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You know,
And
they weren't They weren't even the Justice League at
No.
that time.
No.
There really wasn't them. It was X-Men. Like
Yeah.
And there were one motherfucker I knew who knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's another
yeah.
conversation for
yeah,
today.
that's
I never even. I didn't know about them until the movie was announced.
yeah. I heard the movie was announced, and I'm like,
who the f is this?
Guardians? Oh, they were that team that was in the Lego Marvel Lego game.
It's like, oh,
that's where I first saw them. It was like,
Yeah.
because they weren't. Oh no, they were mentioned. I'm sorry, they were mentioned in Ultimate Alliance, but they were
Oh,
just
sure.
mentioned. They weren't actually there.
But yeah, but going back to what I was saying there is when I grew up, no one knew who Captain America was. Well, they knew who he was, but I know that the breadth of my knowledge as a kid of Captain America was he's a good man who fights for America and he has a shield.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why would I care? Little me didn't give a shit about Captain America.
Sure.
I would even go, as much I am one who disagrees with Jerry. I actually enjoyed Captain America: The First Avenger myself, but I'll also be the first to tell you, movies have to try a lot harder to disappoint. It takes a lot more for a movie to not get any enjoyment out of me. But that's another conversation. But the point being is, while Captain America: The First Avenger was okay, and The Avengers was awesome, to me, Captain America: Winter Soldier is the film that established this is why Captain America is a hero.
Yeah.
This established how good a man Steve Rogers really is, and just how much of a fucking badass Steve Rogers is.
Yeah.
Because he fucks everybody's shit up in that movie, and it is amazing.
Dude, Steve Rogers is so beast in Winter Soldier. It's not even funny.
Yeah, and to play off something that Jerry said about Deadpool, about how it had a pretty simplistic plot, at the end of the day, the plot was merely an avenue to let Deadpool be Deadpool.
Sure, and it was going to be, and it was always going to be because that's Deadpool.
Yeah.
But I do think it has to be taken into consideration. Even though it's to the betterment of making it more like Deadpool, it still does have to be... I mean, at the end of the day, we're saying which is the better movie. What do we like better?
Yeah.
And it does have to be taken into
I
consideration.
will slap myself in the wrist because when we get to the next bracket, hypocritical Jerry's about to kick in.
Yay!
But I will say, you brought up how you guys both all brought up how Deadpool did so much with what it had to work with, and namely having to overcome a smaller budget and frankly having to undo the damage of that film that we won't talk about.
That other Deadpool.
That other Deadpool, who might as well have been Freddy Krueger. He looked about the same.
Started out okay,
That at
but
least
ended up
Deadpool
being-
2 post credits fixed.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but again, another discussion for another matchup.
But at the end of the day, for me, Deadpool deserves a massive amount of props for what it achieved with what it did. But this bracket's about what's the better movie, and for me, as much as I like Deadpool, for me, it's not even close. I think Winter Soldier is the winner on that
That's
bracket.
fair. So we have a Winter Soldier vote. I'd like to just go ahead and say that, as I said before, we're not saying, I don't think any of us are saying Deadpool's a bad movie, ever.
No.
I don't think we would ever say Deadpool was a bad movie. Deadpool's a fantastic movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It does what it does really well with what it's given. But as you said, at the end of the day, it's to me, it's almost about like, all right, you're going to give me a TV set. You're going to tell me, okay, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch Winter Soldier or do you want to watch Deadpool? Me, I want to watch Winter Soldier.
Yep.
That's just how that is. So my vote's Winter Soldier.
With the exception of one film that's not on this list, Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie.
Fantastic.
Marvel Universe movie.
MCU,
Because
yeah.
MCU movies.
Nice.
There is a movie on this bracket that will compete with it.
Ooh.
But there's also a movie that's not on this bracket that I'm going to bring up because I'm so pissed it's not on this. And the next bracket,
Oh, yay!
Winter Soldier wins this round.
All right, Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
So that's a unanimous vote. And Deadpool Wade, again, we love you. It's fantastic, but unfortunately, you drew the short straw and you went against Winter fucking Soldier.
Literally, that match is the equivalent of a 16 seed versus a 1 seed.
Yeah, the 16 seed's good. It's there.
Actually, no, I feel like that's not fair. It's more like
a 12
it's more
seed?
like a 4 versus a 12. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and with that, we have our first winner, Captain America: Winter Soldier. Join us next time when we talk about Deadpool 2 versus Thor.